Alex, an OceanGate Expedition Guide, and I'm here today with a special guest. We've got Praise from Miss Windrick's class at Whittier Elementary here in Everett. And we have Praise down here today because she's super excited about learning about ocean exploration, and so we thought we'd invite her down to learn from some of our experts. Praise, what interests you about learning about ocean exploration?
Well, I just love the marine biology about it and the mystery about the ocean because we haven't explored so much about it. And I think I may want to grow up to be someone that can find that place.
Very cool. Well, I'm really glad you're here today so we can help inspire some of that and hopefully inspire some other kids to learn about that as well. And I have just the person to do that. We have our expedition manager, Kyle, who got to see some of that ocean exploration firsthand on our expedition last year. So we're going to go take a visit with Kyle. But for those of you who are tuning in, we actually started asking everyone for questions from school groups. And so we're answering some questions today with Praise. Praise will be asking Kyle some of these. And so we'll be going over some of those questions today as Praise asks those. However, if you do have more questions and you would like to put those in the chat, you can do so, and we'll try to get to those at the end. If we don't get to those questions, keep those in the chat, give the video a thumbs up, and we can do another video here later and maybe invite Praise back down. But in the meantime, Kyle, I've got Praise here with us today.
Hey, how are you?
I'm good.
Good, welcome.
So Praise has some questions for us that we had submitted by some school groups, and she wants to ask you some questions today.
Sure, can I ask you 2 questions first?
Sure.
How old are you?
I'm 10.
You're 10. So you're in what grade? 4th grade?
I'm in 4th grade, yes.
4th grade, okay. Maybe this got asked earlier, but what do you want to be when you grow up, or what do you want to do when you grow up?
Well, I want something that includes singing or something that includes the ocean.
Oh, singing and the ocean. Those could go together. I could see something happening there. Cool. But you had some questions for me?
Yes, I did.
What do you got?
Can we see the subs?
Sure, great question. Yeah, I mean, what better place to be? Yeah, for sure.
All
yeah,
right.
They're back here.
Let's go take a look at the subs over here. Praise, you can follow me out here. We've got a shop going on today. So we're actually in the OceanGate shop. We've got some engineers, and it is an active working space as we're preparing for our 2022 expedition. So you'll see some people walking around in the background. You'll see some work being done. That is all part of us getting prepared. But in the meantime, for those who are tuning in a little after the fact, we've got Praise here from Whittier Elementary, and she's asking some questions to Kyle, our expedition manager, about ocean exploration, some of the things that we saw on our past expeditions, and ways to learn more about the ocean. So Praise, do you have any questions for Kyle?
I just saw that, and what's that machine?
So we're standing right now kind of in the engineering department, and this over here is part of it. Looks like a jungle gym, but it's not. We call it the iron sub. And a lot of the engineering happens over here on the computers, and then they're able to take the pieces that they make and the changes that we make to the sub over here to this, it's called the iron sub, and test all that stuff before we actually put it on the sub itself. You go take a look at it?
Sure.
Cool. All right, so this is the iron sub, and almost every component the sub has on it, it's the batteries, like these big orange batteries, these pods right here, these glass spheres that can have a lot of the controls for the thrusters, even the drop weights, like this big tray under here. We can test everything on this big fixture, make sure it works right, make changes, and then take that stuff and go put it on the sub. So we don't have to test it, on the sub itself. We can test it ahead of time. And then if we need to make changes, we can just bring it right back over there and do that.
Can we look at the submarines?
Yes, we can. Yeah, did you notice this one back here? Our pretend submarine?
No, I didn't.
That's the Simbuck, which think about how big that is right now. And then as we walk over, we'll check out Titan. That's also kind of just a simulated version of the sub that we can build out and change things. If we want to test some cushions or something in there, we can climb in there and test to see how those fit. But yeah, let's walk back here into the shop and we'll go look at the sub.
But as you are tuning in now, we're here with Praise and Kyle, our expedition manager. We're going over some of the fun questions that classes have submitted to our new website, page.
Okay, so I'm going to tell you about the outside for a little bit. Is that right?
Learn a little bit more about Titan. So we've got Kyle here kind of giving Cruz a tour, talking through some of these questions. But Kyle, we've got something interesting behind us. What's this thing?
This is one of the fairings. So we have at OceanGate we have 3 different submersibles, 3 manned subs, each carry 5 people. And you saw one earlier. You visited us before this and saw our yellow sub, Antipodes. That one's way back in the backyard now. But this piece belongs to a sub that's just outside the door called Cyclops. That's like a older brother, older sister to Titan. And that's just one of the fiberglass fairings that helps protect the outside. We're putting a new one on, so it's in here, get it all cleaned and shined up, and probably this afternoon we'll put it on. Cool. You want to take a look at Titan?
Sure.
Okay. All right, so this is Titan, OceanGate's deepest diving sub. It's pretty unique. One unique thing is that we took it to the Titanic this last summer. It explored the Titanic on the expedition for a little over 5 weeks, and we'll be headed back out there again this spring to do it again. It is really unique because unlike the other subs we have, this one's made of carbon fiber and titanium. On the back here, this back dome, just like our front dome, which will go in our front door, is titanium. It's 3 1/4 inch thick titanium. It weighs like 3,700 pounds. And it's attached to the middle section, like this paper towel tube. It's made of 5-inch thick carbon fiber. So we have titanium, carbon fiber, and titanium, which makes it super, super strong. And it can dive to 4,000 meters, which is deeper than the Titanic is, so we can go explore it. And a crazy fact about this is the whole sub weighs around 22,000 pounds, which is super heavy, but when we put it in the water, it floats. Isn't that weird?
So weird.
So weird, yeah. So we have to even make it heavier for it to get to sink down to the ocean floor so we can go explore. To do that, under here, we add some weight on these legs. We have drop weights that go in here in this tray. And of course, we put 5 people in that, so it adds a little bit of weight too. And we make it super heavy. Well, not super heavy, but heavy enough to go down to the seafloor. When we get down there, we drop a couple of the weights, and then we become neutrally buoyant. So we just kind of float. We don't float up and we don't sink down. And then we can use our thrusters, these big electric thrusters, to cruise around the wreck and explore. Pretty well.
Can we go see inside Titan?
We can, yeah. Want to go explore the inside? Yeah, let's head around this way.
All right. Those of you who are tuning in, we're about to hop inside of Titan with Praise, our special guest, our young ocean explorer, and Kyle, our expedition guide for expeditions. We have some questions submitted by classrooms around.
I'll go in first, Bryce. I'll go in and then you can follow me.
Some of those, and Kyle answer those. But we are going to take a little tour inside of Titan to do so. So we've got Kyle who's going to instruct Praise how to get in, because it's a little interesting getting inside of Titan here.
Okay, so just like in the back, I showed you that dome in the back. Well, it's kind of hard to see, but this is a matching dome in the front. So this weighs like as much as a car. Super heavy, but it has super strong hinges and stuff. But this is actually our front door to get in. So we'll hop in there. I'll go first. I'm going to take our shoes off. We can step up on this big carbon fiber cross member, and we'll take one more step in. We want to watch out for a head on this yellow. This foam's just protecting a bar that holds the door open and steady, and we'll crawl in and explore. Cool? There's a handle right here too if you want to use it.
All right, we're going to join everyone in here.
It's cool in here. Is it bigger than you thought?
It's actually smaller than I thought.
Really? I think it's pretty roomy. But it is, you notice there's not a whole lot of stuff in here. Like if you think about other submarines, or maybe you've seen pictures of with a lot of valves and hoses and pipes and stuff, it's really clean in here. Because all that stuff is behind, either behind here or under our feet, which gives us a lot of extra room in here. We can do activities and workouts if we want to, or move around or stretch our legs on long dives. Yeah. Have you got some more questions?
Yeah, I have a lot, but my first one is, for my class, because I know my class is very interested in sharks.
Mm-hmm.
Have you ever seen a goblin shark at the Titanic?
I don't think we have. I haven't heard of us seeing them. They may be out there. It's a big ocean, but I don't think we've seen any goblin sharks yet.
Have you seen any sharks down there?
We've seen sharks out here. We have 6 gill sharks here in the Puget Sound. And we did an expedition up north a few years back and got some great footage. Actually, we did some dives in Seattle as well and saw some 6 gill sharks. 2 years ago, we had a project here just outside of Everett to bait, using a bait cage to look for 6 gill sharks. We didn't see any that time, but we have seen them here locally. And they get pretty big. They live down really deep.
Jerry from Miss Johnson's class wants to know, what's the difference between a submarine and a submersible?
Good question, Jerry. So a submarine can be autonomous, so it can cruise around by itself. Well, a submersible has to have a support ship. So like for us, we have this big ship we use offshore, and the sub goes on the back of it in the evening and comes back off and does a dive every day. Well, like a submarine can cruise around under the ocean all by itself.
Kate from Miss Alvarez's class asked, how long does it take to get to the Titanic?
All right, Kate, so each dive is around 10 hours long. So once we close the forward dome, so when we open again, it's about 10 hours. But to get from the surface down that deep to the Titanic, it's about 2 hours, 2.5 hours to get down there. Then we'll explore for 4 or 5 hours and then 2.5 to get back up.
Helga from Miss Olson's class wants to know, how do you drive the sub?
Oh, that's a great question, Helga. And right here beside you, Praise, this is how we drive the sub. So this is a Logitech video game controller. So if you can play a video game, you can pretty much drive the sub. So the thrusters on the outside, there's 4 thrusters, 2 horizontal and 2 vertical. And we use these controls and the cameras and the screens here to be able to drive the sub and just fly it around underwater.
Wow.
Pretty cool, huh?
Oliver from Miss Percy's class asked, what do you do when you're not driving the submarine?
Oh, good question, Oliver. So we have all that time, right, getting from the surface to the bottom, 2.5 hours, and all that time exploring while we're driving it, I guess. But there's a lot that goes on in that time. We're always in communication with the surface. They're talking to us and giving us our position, our depth. We're documenting what's going on outside the sub using the cameras. So we might see jellyfish, cenophores, or other creatures flying by in the viewports that we document and make sure we get it on camera so we can understand what it is. So there's always something to do.
I have some personal questions as well. Can kids go to the Titanic?
With us, not kids. You have to be 18 to go. I don't know what the youngest person that has been is, but for us, everything that goes on, the expedition and being out on the ship, you have to be at least 18. At least to go in person. Maybe we can do some virtual stuff.
How far can you see when you're driving around the Titanic?
Pretty far. We had some footage, like this is a picture of the bow from the Titanic this last year, and we have some YouTube videos that really show a good understanding of how far you can see. But just like a car's headlights, you can see pretty long ways.
Did you guys see any artifacts at the wreck?
Lots of artifacts. When you get down there, the debris field, kind of where everything spilled out. So everybody knows the Titanic broke apart. And when it did, a lot of the stuff on the inside just kind of spilled out into the ocean. And it spread out over a big area on the seafloor. So when we get down there, even if we're not near the wreck, we still see coal, parts of the ship, cups and saucers, pieces of debris all over. So not just the ship itself, but yeah, you see a lot of artifacts. And
What's the coolest thing you've seen underwater?
for me, the coolest thing, it's not the Titanic, I don't think. It's this big, huge lion's mane jellyfish that we saw just outside here in Everett. And it was a big, huge orange jellyfish. And we were in Cyclops 1, the sub that is just outside that big fairing that we saw goes on. And it has a big, clear viewport. And this giant jellyfish came and floated right by us, and it bumped into the window. we weren't moving, we were sitting still, but we got to see it in its own habitat. We got to visit it in its own backyard. And it was really, really cool.
Wow. Where else can you take the sub other than the Titanic?
Anywhere. Anywhere that's, so this sub goes to 4,000 meters. So anywhere that's 4,000 meters or shallower, we can dive. There are some areas of the ocean that are deeper than that, but the sub doesn't go anywhere where the water is deeper than it can go. But there are tons and tons of wrecks out there. There are deep ocean canyons. There's coral. There's all sorts of things that we can dive on, both here on the Pacific coast and the Atlantic and all around the world.
This may be a weird question, but is there a bathroom in the submarine?
That is a good question, and it's not weird because it's very common. And yes, there's a bathroom right up front. That seat, which is an observation seat, also doubles as a restroom if you need it. The lid comes off, and it's just like a regular restroom, maybe if you've been camping before or something. And there's a big privacy curtain that goes around. So we go in there and close the privacy curtain, turn the music up, and you have your own private bathroom with a beautiful view with a big giant window. Yeah.
How deep can the submarine go?
This one to 4,000 meters, which is around 13,000 feet, somewhere around there.
Wow.
Yeah, pretty deep.
How fast can the submarine go?
Not very fast. So the subs go actually pretty slow underwater. Maybe in miles an hour, 3 or 4. So it's not super fast. It's not like a speedboat. When we get down there, we want to make slow movements as we explore the wreck because we have currents to think about. We don't want to bump into anything, but also we don't want to stir stuff up and make it all cloudy. We want to be able to see it really well.
So this is my last question, and are you ever going to make a new sub soon?
Yeah, we'll make more subs, just like the 3 that we have. And this one made with carbon fiber, which is really unique. We want to continue on that process and continue inventing new technologies, building more subs like this that go even deeper.
Cool.
Pretty neat. All right. That's all your questions?
Yep.
That was easy.
All right. So for those who are just tuning back in, we are concluding here with all of the questions that were submitted to the classrooms or by the classrooms. But if you're interested in having your class join in our future live events, you can check us out at OceanGateExpeditions.com/Young Ocean Explorer and learn more about our Young Ocean Explorer that we are getting ready to release. On there, you can also download PDF activities for your classroom, and we'll continue to do these each month and prepare for our expedition as we head out. And with that, that also means that you might get some sneak peeks as we head out on the expedition, and who knows, maybe even live events over on the expedition. We do have all of our YouTube videos that are coming out, including one that will be dropping on Friday. So if you're interested in seeing more of our footage, we'll have a release on Friday with one of our Titanic experts, P.H. Nargelet, who's going to actually walk through some of the footage and tell you what exactly you're seeing. So don't forget to check that out. But if you didn't get your question answered today, feel free to drop that in the chat. Give the video a thumbs up, and we'll continue to do some of these and maybe invite Craze or other Young Ocean Explorers down. Thanks everyone for tuning in today.